Okay, so day one of business mastery is over. It's 12:52 a.m. Just got home maybe an hour ago. It went pretty late today. I think today's the latest day. But yeah, we learnt lots of stuff, so I just wanted to make a video to go over everything. Tony spoke about managing the two businesses that we are always in, which is the current business that we're operating right now and the business that we want to become in the future. And you always have to have both in mind, otherwise you're risking the death of your business, basically. If you're too focused on the vision, then your business right now is going to suffer, and if you're not thinking, ahead, then you're going to run into a lot of problems as well. So, about finding that balance. He speaks a lot about this, and I've heard Tony speak about this a lot, but falling in love with your client and not the product. That's definitely something I need to work on a lot more. I think I underestimate my clients and their needs, and I just kind of need to get inside their head a little bit more and anticipate what their needs are a bit better. Spoke about how can we add more value, and basically the two core principles of business, which is innovation and marketing. He described innovation as finding better ways to meet your customers' needs. So even if it's weird, it could be price, but it could also be when Netflix decided to not charge late fees. So it could be an idea. And then marketing is basically getting people to want to do business with you. We spoke a lot about people not buying the product, but buying a feeling or an emotion or an identity. So this is all stuff that I've done previously, but it's just really important to go over constantly because it's always changing as well. There's a lot of things in here that kind of called me out in many ways, and I felt frustrated at some points during the day because I had done some of this stuff before, and I felt I kind of felt frustrated that I had to do this again, and I wanted to come to business mastery and learn new strategies on the first day and be blown away straight away. But I'm realizing now that there's still another 4 days to go, and this day was kind of just the warm-up. It was just laying the foundation, getting us comfortable with all the principles, and then the next 4 days we're going to go hard and specific. We spoke about who is my ideal client and your irresistible offer. Again, everything I've mentioned so far I found very frustrating, probably because I'm not clear on a lot of things, and these are the areas that need the most work for me, and I was noticing that no one else was kind of in a bad mood about it. It was only me, so that kind of says something about where I'm at in my business. We wrote down 3-year goals and 12-month goals. I must achieve this so I can impact more people. Working in my current job, it's not going to do it. It's not going to fulfill me. I'm not living my true purpose or my potential. So it's essential that I make this happen and I get this moving now. And what else? The question that frustrated me, if you were looking at me, you would see that I was pissed off, just by the way I was sitting in my chair and just my facial expressions. It was what are you missing in your business? And that annoyed me, because if I knew the answer to that, like, that would solve a lot of my problems, and maybe I wouldn't even be at Business Mastery if I knew the answer to that. But what actually happened was, after we had some time like writing the answers down, someone that I spoke to the day before came over just to say hi, and just asked like, oh, how's like the day going, you know, enjoying it? And I just said to him like straight up, like, I'm feeling a little bit frustrated, and I just explained the question and where I was struggling with it, and he was just like explaining to me, like, he got me to explain a little bit about my business and why I do my business, and it became quite clear that about what I was missing, and he was able to like point them out really quickly. And this is coming from someone, he's in a completely different industry. He sells energy, so, but he has multiple companies. He is making, I think he said he's making about $3 million in revenue, but he wants to get it to about 5 in the next 2 years, and then eventually 10 million, so he can scale into other industries. So I was listening like really closely to what he had to say, and like something he like said straight away is like, I'm too focused on the dollar signs and like not focused enough on the movement. And when he spoke about what music meant to him, he actually like seemed more passionate about music than I did, which was like interesting. And he just like continued saying, you know, like, people buy from people, like, you need to just sort it out and figure out what the club owners want, like what is their why, like work out your why, and then work out the people who book you, like why do they run a club, and then provide like value to support that. And yeah, that was really like helpful for me, and just yeah, having him like say like that he believed in me to like I could do whatever I wanted. I just have to like believe in myself. Yeah, it was just kind of a good moment for me to like speak to someone else and get an objective point of view on it. And I think that was like maybe the issue, like why I was feeling a little bit like down, because suddenly like I'm in a room with like thousands of people who are way more experienced, way more wealthy, and like at their like kind of everyone in the room is in positions where like I would love to get to, and like suddenly like I'm not the smartest, most driven, most successful person in the room. Like I'm with these people, and it was like threatening to my ego, maybe. So it kind of just showed me that I need to expand my circle of influence and spend more time being uncomfortable and being around people who are smarter than me and have more experience, because I can get a lot more growth by doing that. Might not feel good all the time, because I don't always have the answers, but having like a mentor would be a really good idea for me right now, I think, in the stage that I'm in. And then we spoke about like what is our true gift, and pretty much there's the artist, the manager, or the entrepreneur, and most people in the room were artists, so people who liked to come up with lots of ideas, like caring a lot about how things look and the clients. And then the manager leader role is more structure based and like trying to put systems together, so the business actually can like be sustainable. And then the entrepreneur is a person who is a bit more of a risk taker and will like push the business or company to be more profitable, and like is more so focused on like the money side of it and the growth. We also looked at like the life cycle of business, and it's basically like the life cycle of a human life. And that was very humbling for me, because here I am thinking like, oh, you know, I've been doing this for like 5 years now, so I'd feel like I'm in a high stage, when really my business is in the first stage, which is birth. And it's basically just managing yourself and still like having a job to support the business. The next stage, which I'm looking to move into, like currently, is infancy. And it's basically like when you start hiring people, and when you're like spending more time and focus on the business, which means that I can step away from my full-time job. And usually cash flow is a significant challenge in this stage, so that's why I want to bring someone in that can help me with cash flow, and bring me more business. Like, I'm not worried about the task, someone get me the job and like I'll execute. So but yeah, as you can see, there's 10 stages and I'm all the way here. So yeah, it was a bit shocking for me, but it's the reality. Like, I need to accept that, and I need to look at what's next for me and just be patient and keep moving. There was a lady that was sitting in front of us. She was actually from Sydney, and she was telling us that her company was almost going bankrupt, and then she actually went to a Kerwin Ray seminar that I'm going to in April, and within 12 months she quadrupled her money. She quadrupled what the business was making. So her business is like, I think she said it's making it's 10 million or something in revenue, not in profit, but in revenue. It's turning over about $10 million a year, and her goal for the next 3 years is to get to 20 to $30 million. So like, these are the people that are surrounding us, and like, for once my vision is like dwarfed, and it's cool in one way, but it was like intimidating in another way. But yeah, she's been awesome. She's put me in touch with a DJ that she knows, and is gonna connect me there. There's also another musician that was just sitting next to her, and we're gonna connect to and work on an original production piece. It has been really rewarding too. We did a thing where we split off into groups as well, and we got teams, and we have to come up with like a logo, business name, like a dance, and a service. So we're going to be working on that more over the coming days. But yeah, pretty full on day. Started at 9 a.m, finished at about 11:30 ish, and then we're starting tomorrow at 9:30. Still got to do a little bit of homework, and then done for the day. Tony Robbins was on stage literally until about maybe 10, so he was there the whole time. He's just a machine. But yeah, he'll be back tomorrow, and we've got some really good guest speakers. Actually, I wrote down their names because I wanted to have a look at some of them, but there's one speaker in particular that I'm really looking forward to, because I'll just get his name, Jesse Eisler, I think it is. I'm not sure if I wrote that right, but he has multiple companies in like different industries. So I think he's got like a ski company, like a drink company, like just completely different fields. I'm really looking forward to hearing his talk, but all the speakers are going to be awesome. So I will update on day 2 tomorrow. See ya. It is day 3 of Business Mastery in Palm Beach, Florida, and it's it's raining on the walk to the venue. I didn't make a video last night because when I got home I kept working on a few things and then it got really late. We went from 9:30 till about 11, maybe 10:30 last night. I didn't get to sleep till about 2:30 though. I felt like my brain was just on fire. So far the last 2 nights after I've got home, I've found it really hard to switch off. I felt like my brain is literally rewiring itself. Like something I notice is like when I'm getting into bed, closing my eyes to go to sleep, I feel like my eye movements are like almost as if I'm already dreaming and in a REM sleep, which is interesting. So like I think the NLP is definitely working. We worked on a lot of like, I guess you could say maths, basic maths and numbers yesterday. Just pretty much, I don't know what everyone else's experience was, but it was pretty shocking and like terrifying for me that I had no idea of what my business numbers were this whole time. They were very different numbers to what I was anticipating, but when you put it all on paper and you're honest with yourself and you're not bullshitting, it becomes very clear what's working, what's not working. And like when you look at what your goals are for the next 12 months and then 3 years, and you look at what you're currently doing, that's when the realization happened for me that, you know, something needs to change majorly. And you know, I've been working with some companies the same way for the last 3 years. I've been doing a lot the same way for the last 3 years. But yeah, I think it's time that I step up and change some things up so I can actually hit my goals now. So we did stuff on, yeah, it was mostly numbers yesterday, a lot of psychology and just getting that into our system. But yeah, excited for day 3, but also extremely tired too. I'll update you tonight. Hello, it is the end of day 3 today. It is, I don't know if you can see the time. It is 12:54 p.m. Oh, sorry, 12:54 a.m. We finished and just got home about maybe 15-20 minutes ago. Finished really late tonight, which wasn't deliberate. I'll explain a little bit later, but I apologise if there's a lot of stopping and starting. I might have to actually cut this video if I ever end up posting it. But just to like refresh what we went over today. That's better. So basically in the morning, we started with accounting. Keith Cunningham came in and did the explaining for this. He's coming back again tomorrow to expand on what he's gone over. It was interesting. A lot of it, like obviously everything in this this seminar applies to me. I can apply it to me, and even if I can't implement it right now, at some point in the future, I do want to grow my business to the point that it is a company. So all of this will be very relevant at some stage, just not so relevant now. The parts that were important that I got from the accounting section was just, again, like, not just knowing your numbers as in your expenses and your income, but like really knowing your numbers properly and like making sure that you're forecasting and like comparing to either last month, last year's figures, you know, like have a benchmark and a standard. Like we should be monitoring it's January 2020. I should really know what I made in January 2019, so I can get a really clear indication on have I improved like my income for this year compared to last, in the most basic sense, but also just to know like where the major income is coming from and then where the major expense is coming from, and see if there's anything that's abnormal in that. For me, I'm the only person spending the money in the business, so I might be able to catch myself on some things, like if I'm excessively spending on something that doesn't really need to be spent. But for the bigger businesses in the room, this was super important because they have other people in charge of their accounts, so it's important for them to know what's going on. Basically, something that I really liked is that he was saying business is an intellectual sport, and if you don't know the language, you can't play the game. And it became very clear today that I don't know the language. The numbers were something that I only looked at during tax time, so I was rushed, and I would just put together a quick spreadsheet and I would give it no attention. I would just hand it to my accountant. But he went over like balance sheets, income statements, and then statement of cash flow. I understood it all intellectually. I just kind of need to get to that point now where it becomes something that is useful to me. Something I'm going to actually do for my business at the moment is to create forecasts based on figures on previous years and months, and I actually want to hold myself accountable to growing every month, or at least monitoring it, and not being blind, and just keeping my fingers crossed and hoping that by the end of this year I have a better year than last, because I actually am like embarrassed that that's how I was thinking before, and then beating myself up about when I wasn't achieving my financial goals. I didn't even know the numbers. So for me to be setting goals to earn a certain amount in the year, it was just, it's immature. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but now when I set a financial goal, there needs to be research behind it. There needs to be a method behind it. Tony came on after Keith and spoke about core beliefs. It was a really interesting portion of the seminar. He basically did a whole section on kind of like what they do to brainwash people, and interestingly so, he uses it in his business, and he uses it at seminars to get people over their limiting beliefs, and he kind of stepped us through that process of how he does it, and it was very useful for business owners with teams, because they could use that for their employees, like as a way to get through to them, connect with them, show genuine care, and then like also remove the limiting beliefs that are holding that employee back and holding the business back as well. So he was also talking a lot about certainty and fear, obviously, which is something that gets in the way of that, and just got us really like confident and clear. I won't go into details about the actual method, but it was super interesting that day, that portion. Then we spoke about the selling process, and if there was like a 2-step selling process, a 4-step, or a 6-step plus. I think my business would be mostly a 2-step for getting gigs. However, some cases it has been a 4-step. So basically for most people it follows this structure. Step 1, make contact. Either I reach out or they reach out to me. Then step 2 is have a meaningful conversation. and like show them your value and benefits of hiring you. If you do have a third step, it's like set a time to meet in person or for a phone call. And then the fourth is to, again, have another meaningful conversation and to like basically see if that converts to the deal. It hasn't really gone beyond that for me. Actually, I apologize, it does go beyond that a lot for me. It's just not as formalized. So the appointments set up and held are usually in a club, and it's not a quick process. It might take months, but I think I can definitely shorten that whole process after like learning some things. We spoke about reframing, deframing, and he did a few interventions with people in the crowd. This is what's made us finish at like nearly 1 a.m. They went a little bit longer than Tony had hoped. They went a little bit off track from what Tony wanted, you could kind of tell, but even the people that were speaking about like personal issues or relationship issues still very relevant to business, because obviously we are human beings and we are running businesses and we are working in businesses, so that our performance is affected by how we feel and how we think. So I think if you can get yourself to a really good place mentally, your business will run better. That's my personal belief. And for some of these people that stood up, you could see that their personal struggles were holding them back in business. So yeah, it was a little bit off topic, but I mean, I still got some things out of it. Some things that I think I need to hear most, which is something Tony said was to remember that selfishness brings selfishness. So if I go into a conversation with someone expecting something for myself, or straight away with my intentions only in mind, well, the only thing that's going to be mirrored back to me is the same on the other person's end. So, you know, I really need to lead with love and like sincerely connect with people first, and like not expect a thing, and then I'm probably going to get better results, actually, just because people will sense that this girl doesn't want anything. She's a nice person, and I want to work with nice people. It's just, I guess it's such an obvious thing, but it's taken a while to get through to me. Another thing he said while talking to other people was, you can't influence someone if you judge them. I don't think I'm a judgmental person. However, when it comes to business, I can make assumptions about people, and then I think that's so limiting, because if I'm judging someone, then how am I meant to empower them? How am I meant to connect with them? I'm straight away pulling away from someone when I judge them and putting something between us. So that's only my fault, and I'm taking responsibility for that, and I'm going to change that straight away. That's something I can change instantly. And yeah, I think I need to care more. It's funny because that's something that I thought I did really well, and I thought that's something that I did that made me really unique, but it's actually a weak point in how I go about business. So yeah, it's the whole seminar has been completely eye-opening, and it's just blown the roof off my business and made me reconsider everything, because I'm doing a lot of things wrong, and I don't say that in a way to beat down on myself. Usually I beat down on myself, beat up on myself about whatever, but this is different. This feels like this feels like when a coach tells you, like, you need to work on something, and you take it on board and you know it's genuine, except there's a lot of things to work on. So I guess I have to kind of implement what's most important, because I know once I get back to the real world, I'm probably going to be stressed and tired, and fearful again. Hopefully not, but fear and doubt creeps in, and when those things happen, you go back to old habits, or you'll just do the thing that is like interesting for you. But sometimes the most interesting thing, like for example, it might be marketing and design. Maybe my business doesn't need attention in that area right now. Maybe it needs attention in the finance and the numbers. So I think I need to identify while I'm here, definitely before I get back home, what out of everything I've learned during this whole entire thing is the most important, and like number it like a list, and just go from most important to least. And throughout, maybe I'll put like a highlight and like add some like fun things that I'm really excited to do just in and around, even if they're not a priority, just to keep me engaged. But I think I just need to list it and then go down the list when I get home and stick to that list, and do it for as long as possible. And if I get through it all, just repeat, because by the time I get to the end, I'll need to review the start again for sure. We spoke about increasing sales conversions. Again, super interesting, but for me, a little bit difficult. The examples they used were like sales teams, and they were doing large figures. I definitely could apply this to my apparel business. Don't know if I have enough data on that actually, but I'd be willing to like experiment with the numbers, and like it would probably make a little bit more sense to me with a product rather than selling my DJ service. I'll look over it again, but really interesting how much you can grow a business, like crazy amounts, by just making small improvements in areas. Like few percentage increases in a number of areas can get you crazy growth. That was the biggest standout for me, and I think that's an important lesson that I learned, because that applies to everything. You know, sometimes we look at tasks and it looks really daunting and large, but now I understand that just making small improvements and getting small wins in areas, like breaking it down, it just makes a massive difference to the business. So that was really interesting. And like in these things, they give you like real examples, so they're not just giving you like the principle and like letting you figure it out. They'll give you examples of like how you can increase your price, like what add-ons you can add to your product, just all like basically like brainstorm the ideas for you, which is awesome, because there's some really unique ideas in there, and just even people standing up in the audience sharing what they do, that's super beneficial as well. So you've got people in there that have really successful businesses sharing what works for them in different industries from different parts of the world. It applies to everyone. So, you know, the smart business owners in there, which is majority of the room, are going to be listening and implementing a variation into their business. The last thing we did of the day, I might be saying his name wrong, Ryan Dis, showed us the one-page marketing plan. Really great talk. Like, it was really late at night. We all had a really long day. Started at 9:30, didn't finish till 12:15, 12:30ish, and he kept me engaged the entire time. Basically went through the whole system from when a client first sees your brand to when they convert, and like stepped us through the entire journey and gave us not just a map, but like ideas on how to expand and grow it. Hats off to him for doing such a great job in like a small amount of time, and like keeping us all engaged. I got a fair bit from that session, and I do a lot of webinars and reading on this topic, but he gave out this map, and I'm definitely going to be using this, and definitely going to be finding the holes in the customer journey. I already know there's several holes in there, and a lot of the things I have ideas for, I just haven't actually implemented. But you know, when you do things like this, the seminar, it really makes you think like, I just need to do it. Like, I need to stop thinking about it. If it's a PDF or document or a blog or something that I've been putting off because I don't have the time to write or create, I just need to pay someone to do it. Like, I can give them the outline, I can even write it, and they can make it look pretty, but it just needs to be done, because having the sales journey and missing key parts of the steps, it's not professional, it's not good, and it's actually hurting the brand. So yeah, today was intense again. Last night I found it really hard to get to sleep. I don't think I slept till about 3 a.m. My brain just felt like on fire. Had a few breakthroughs when I actually got home and like went over my notes. So again, I'm feeling tired but not sleepy. So this stuff really is getting into your head. Like, you can feel it rewiring your brain, like, in all seriousness. So I'm super excited for the last few days, because it's going to get us really clear on how to make this all come together. So I'll update you tomorrow. Good night. It is the last day of Business Mastery, and just walking over now. I'm gonna make this one quick just because I don't want to be late today, but it's been awesome. Yesterday was probably my favourite day out of the 4 that we've been through so far. Keith came back in the morning and finished off explaining the finance stuff, the accounting stuff, and yeah, it was really good. It all like came together in the end. I was understanding it anyway, but it gave me even a bit of context now for like the stock market, and just like getting my finances in order as early as possible, so that when the business does start bringing in a lot of money, I know exactly where it's going. I love the work that Tony did today. It was yesterday. It was he spoke about things that could create a crisis for our businesses, and some of them were like technology, changes in culture, changes in laws, changes in people's lives, like your employees or even your own life. And we really like dug into each of those, and he gave us a little bit of insight about technology that's coming up, which I had in mind already, but the timeframes that he was giving were a lot faster than what I was aware of. So it's just good to be aware and be on the front foot, so you can start putting out stuff and preparing for crises even when there is no crisis. Yeah, I really love that portion. We had I can't remember his name, I think it was Don or something like that. Donald came in, spoke to us about marketing. It was good. I got a little bit out of it, but I don't know, I'm gonna have to look over my notes again. This was an area I really needed help with my brand, but I still feel a little bit confused coming out of it. His process was very like, I don't know, corporate, I guess. I'm a DJ, so the vision statement, I have a vision statement, a mission statement, and all of that for my business, but the way that he goes about it, like his process, it seemed to suck the life out of it. So I don't know, I think maybe that's on my part, and maybe I just need to spend some more time on that, not rush it, and make sure I'm using the right language. What else? I'm wearing one of, so while we're here, we're in teams and we have to like create businesses. A lot of businesses are doing like charity businesses. How beautiful is this, by the way? So far I haven't really got to see much of Palm Beach because we've been in the convention centre literally all day, but there's some ducklings there. I saw an alligator in there the other day too. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, the businesses. So there's a few businesses doing like charities and stuff. So this is one of the groups. They're raising money for the Australian bushfires. They're just selling t-shirts, and then all the profits raised are going to go to the Wires Animal Foundation in Australia. There's people raising money for child sex trafficking, like stopping that from happening, and funding the missions that the Navy SEALs can go in, and ex-Navy SEALs, and like save the kids. So like people are coming up with some really awesome business ideas. I've just been watching really closely at what people are doing. I've noticed the speed at which people are able to get products here. Like this t-shirt arrived for this team like literally in under 24 hours from being told we had to do a business. So if you live in America, like the access to on-demand products is exciting, and for us in Australia, we just need to think a little bit more creative, or we need to be one step ahead and have things ready to go and order a little bit earlier. The last day today, so sorry I'm puffy, I'm just walking uphill. Last day today, so this one's going to be a full day. Still got 2 speakers. I'm really excited about the speakers, so I'll update you once it's done. Bye. Hello, it is day 6, which means the event is over. I didn't record something last night because I was just I just felt really good, and I wanted to come home and just enjoy that feeling and that moment for a second. Hope you can still hear from there. The event didn't go as long last night. It was the last day, and it went from about 10:30, 11 till maybe 9:30 at night. After the event, everyone was feeling really good, and just a couple of us went to dinner at an Italian restaurant just to celebrate and say goodbye. The last day was really, really, really good. The 2 guest speakers that came in were amazing. They're actually husband and wife, or partners. I think they're husband and wife. Sarah Blakely, the founder and owner of Spanx, and Jesse Isler, I think that's how you say it, or Itzler. He has multiple businesses in different industries, and has done some pretty amazing things in his life, physically as well, doing like running like hundreds of miles and crazy stuff that the human body, you wouldn't believe that it can do. His story was amazing, his energy was amazing, you could tell he's really passionate about life, and he's super focused on his goals. Something that he stood out in his message was that he does not negotiate on his goals, and that's something that I want to bring into my life and make it. He was so certain saying that it inspired me, and it got me excited, because I know I'm going to get to that place. I'm going to start from that place, and I'm going to keep bringing myself back to that place, because I think when you have your mind that strong and you're that certain, literally nothing can stop you. Rejection won't stop you, people putting you down won't stop you, money won't stop you. It's just like you'll find a way to make it happen. And in all of his stories, that's exactly what happened. People would tell him no, people would reject him, and he'd just find another way. So it was just super exciting, super relatable, because he actually worked in the music industry for a long time. He spoke about routines and how, as beautiful as they are, they can still be a rut, and you can get into a rut, and I fully felt that, because just before I came here, I mean, I was in a good morning routine, but just wasn't feeling right, and I think it was starting to limit me. So he has this technique, which is crazy. You can think of an idea, I've thought of what he said, but I never actually put into action. And when I was in a really good flow and meditating every day, working out every day, feeling really good, I wanted to put on my calendar, like, for every month, something I can improve on. And then by the end of the 12 months, I would have this whole new skill set of habits and things. So things like complimenting someone once a day at least, or increasing my meditation from 10 minutes to 15 minutes, or just small increases, or drinking more water, drinking 3 liters of water a day, whatever it is. So he does that. So he's constantly growing and improving, even when he's in a good place, and that means his routine doesn't get boring either, because there's always new elements coming in. And he had a really good quote. One of the quotes was, "I didn't come this far to get this far." And that really stuck with me, because sometimes when I get rejected and, you know, people don't want to work with me, a flash comes into my mind that maybe I should do something else. Maybe this isn't the right industry for me. But the thing that really keeps me going is just, I've put so much energy and time into this that there's no way that I'm stopping now. Like, I'm going to make this work. So he kind of had it in one sentence, and it just really clicked with me. I really liked Jessie. He's awesome. And then Sarah came on, and she's beautiful, like, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, you can tell that woman has a good heart. And I actually liked her story, because a lot of stories I listen to are like people losing a lot of money, people like getting ripped off and struggling, and like came from really poor upbringing, and I can't connect with that, because I do have a privileged life. But on saying that, it's not easy. I'm not handed money to go and start a business with. She started her business with $5,000, and Spanx is, you know, valued at over $1 billion now. It's like she was on the Forbes. She was the youngest woman on Forbes to make $1 billion, like self-made billionaire. It's pretty inspiring that she started with $5,000, and after hearing her story, that's legit. Like, she actually didn't start with a lot, and she bootstrapped it all. She did everything herself, even the marketing and the packaging she did herself. She did the sales herself. She was going around to different stores and like setting up tables and doing like giveaways and stuff, even though she wasn't allowed. She just like pushed her way in and like made it happen, because she knew that if she followed the rules of the game, it was either going to take way too long and a competitor will come in, or it wasn't going to sell and she would lose the opportunity. So that stuck out to me, because there's going to be times where like I get put on for like a really shitty set and no one's going to be there, and then I've got two options. I can go and play my set at that time and go home, or I can play my set, speak to the DJs, get mates with the DJs, speak to the crowd, be involved, and if someone drops out of another time slot, I'm there to fill it in a prime time. Like, it's all about being in the room, and that's where the opportunity is created, and Jessie talks about that too. The thing I love the most and connected with the most when Sarah was talking about her story is just her relationship with the universe. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't talk about this. They probably think it's a bit too woo-woo and people will tune out, but this is a woman that was very in touch with her spirituality. She believes in manifesting. She believes, I'm guessing, in the law of attraction from how she was speaking. And she believes that the universe is looking out for her and that she can ask a question and it will provide the answers. And that's something that I've really connected with. And she actually talks about at one stage asking the universe for an idea. Like before she came up with the idea for space, she asked the universe, give me an idea, and she's gonna, I can't remember the words she used, but she just had this belief that she was going to create something, and then she left it in the universe's hands, and she opened it up and she asked a question, and then it came into her life. It's pretty amazing. Like she even told a story that's been similar to mine. Like I have Tony Robbins CDs in my car, and like when I bring people in my car, like that comes on as soon as I put on the ignition, and people kind of like look at me or tease me and like have a joke, and they're like, what the fuck's this? Like, you know, you're a DJ, put some music on. But like she did that too. I think she said she had Wayne Dyer CDs at the time, and she said she's had people come back, like old friends come back and be like, shit, those CDs really work. And it's like, I can literally see that happening. Like once I hit where I want to hit, I know that my friends and stuff are going to come back and be like, hey, can I borrow those CDs? And it was just a cool story like that I connected with. It's just, yeah, it's cool. Like she was doing some of the things that I was doing, so that gives me confidence and belief that I'm on the right path. Who knows, I might never have a business that makes $1 billion, but I'm doing the things that a young billionaire was doing, and I mean, that's as much as I can do for now. I think the next step is for me to like let go a little bit and just like leave it up to the universe to make it happen and have that belief. And that doesn't mean I'm going to sit on my ass and do nothing, because that's not me. Like I love hard work, I love progress, I love creating. I'm never going to just sit down and wait, but I can progress forward in a more beautiful state. And I think that's something I really need to work on, because I'm missing out on the fun of now. And the fun of now is I'm very free, I'm very happy, I am successful, I have my whole family alive and well and loving me, and lots of friends like that I can spend time with. I spend a lot of time in Melbourne, so I can go and see my nan at any time. Once I go to the next level, I'm going to be away from home, so I should just be enjoying the right now and the connections I have. Tony did talk in the morning. He spoke about what to focus on, like if he comes into a business. The first thing he looks at is, I think Scott actually spoke to us about this, the psychology, state and energy that the business owner has, like who's in charge, like what energy are they bringing in every single day. He looks at making sure that everyone has clarity. He looks at the styles of communication everyone in the organization has. So if you have multiple employees, people connect differently, people communicate differently. So he finds out, okay, how does this person learn? How does this person like to be given criticism? And go from there. And then, there's two more. So then he looks at the systems for growth, and if there isn't one, they put one in. And then the last one is they look at the key limiting beliefs. That was super interesting. For the last bit of before I forget, there was this part at the start where they told us how much money we raised. So before we left last night, Tony said that if anyone donates to Underground Railroad, which is an organisation that helps stop human and child sex trafficking, that he'll double any donations that are made. Over the course of the whole conference plus that night's worth of donations, we raised, I think it was close to $800,000, and then Tony just rounded it up to $1 million. So $1 million was donated collectively between all of us in 5 days, and it's going to save, I think it was going to save, I think it was 700 kids or something. But they want to get it to 10,000. They want to save 10,000 kids, and that's like 4 times the room we were sitting in. And it was just, when you look around the room and see all the seats, it's like, wow, that's a lot of lives. So I think they'll get to that. I know they'll get to it because the leader and the people will make it happen. So $1 million was raised for Underground Railroad. That's not to mention the winning team that won the business competition were raising money for the Australian bushfires. I believe they raised close to $80,000 to $90,000. Tony again put in money to this, and that's US. So they raised over $100,000 Australian for the bushfires. Amazing. There were people raising money for autism, people raising money for, there's another charity, I can't remember, but like honestly I reckon like 1.5 million or close to it was raised over 5 days just with that small group of people in that room. And it's this is why I love business. It's so powerful. Like, this is why I got into business, because once you have the platform, once you have the people, like, you can make a major impact. It doesn't even take 1 million people to change the world. It just takes a small group of people that really believe in the same thing that you believe in and care for the world. Just to finish it, I don't want to take too much longer, but the last things we did was go through the book, all of our notes, and just write down like the key things that we need to work on, that are most important. So not the most interesting, but the most important things for the business right now. I got really clear. I mean, it was pretty clear to me what I need to work on immediately and what could wait a little bit longer. But pretty much the aha moment I had was, I'm going to make a new routine when I get back, a new morning routine, and then I'm going to make a personal contract with myself and put new rules in there. What are my non-negotiables? And honestly, if I just take care of those 2 things, I have a list of 5 other items. If I do those 2 things and my mental state is feeling like this, there is no doubt I will hit every goal that I've ever dreamed of and go beyond it, because my mental state is what's driving this. And I do have the skills. Sure, there's always more skills to learn, but I feel equipped. I feel like I've been gathering a lot of information. I'm working with some of the most successful business people in the world. Now I need to just start moving in the direction, being patient, and just moving it forward, and it's going to happen. Honestly, one of the most amazing things is just the connections I made with people who are very different to me, people who have completely different political views and life views to me, but I still connected deeply with, and had a great time there, and I'm sure we'll stay in touch beyond. I met a few people that I see as like mentors, and I think they see me the same way, because the words we exchanged on that last day, we both wanted to stay in touch with each other. We both bring value to each other. You know, they're making, one of the guys at Lance, I'm going to keep in touch with that man. He's given me some great insight, and his mindset is just like unstoppable. Like, he does not hear the word no. Every time I said something that had the tone of doubt in it, he would like call me out on it. And I think I need someone like that in my life. And the benefit is he's running I think it was a $3 million business at the moment. He wants to turn it to $20 million in the next 3 years. Like, that's the type of person I need to speak to, because that's where I want to get to. In my town, $1 million is a lot of money, but that's not my vision. So already I've met people who fit the description of a mentor for me better. And yeah, I think I'll definitely stay in touch with him. Then there's about 4 or 5 people who are around my age that are making 6 figures. Like, it's crazy for me. Like, 6 figures would change my life if I was earning that through my business. So I want to stay in touch with them too and see what they're doing, because I'm going to be watching them really closely, because whatever they're doing, I should be doing first. I should be doing it before them. So that's what I really liked about this conference. Not only did we get the skills and learn a lot of new things, they taught us how to do it. We put it into our body. I felt it. My body felt it. We met amazing people in the actual room, and then the speakers were awesome too. So, you know, all up, it was an amazing time. I'll definitely be back. Like, there's no reason that you just need to go once, because depending on what stage of the business you're in, you can come back and learn more. The crazy thing is, this week my rings on my watch, my exercise I probably tripled what I usually do in the normal week, and I was sitting down and listening most of the time here. So it puts it in perspective that when I get back home, I need to start. This is a new life. This is not Taz going back home from a holiday. This is Taz, the $20 million Taz, coming back home. My name, you know, the person I go to, the gladiator for me, is the captain of the army, the captain of the sports team, the captain of the ship, whatever it is. We're going home. That's the person going home, and that person is gonna lead. That part of me is gonna lead us to my goals. So it was amazing. Thank you to my mum, because I would not be here without her. She made this happen. I'm paying her back for the ticket. So I'm grateful, I'm blessed. I'm in Palm Beach, like, life's good. I don't know if I'll post this, but I hope I watch this again one day. I'm going to the beach.